The following example comes from page 7 of lesson 18. This is on the start of day 2, although we may do this lesson at a different time than the second day. The example says, describe the domain of the function and then write the domain in interval notation and in inequality notation. So interval notation we will save and hang on to. I want to do inequality notation first. And as I read this, domain is written as all possible x values, all possible x values. So looking at this graph, I need to label the x-axis, label the y-axis, and I see the graph does something. Let me highlight it to make it stand out. I see the graph does something like it starts and it goes to the left, and then it skips a section, and then it goes to the right, has a little piece in it. I see an open circle. I see 2 filled in circles. So that's going to treat how I write the inequality notation specially. Looking at this right here, I'm just going to talk about this section that's on the left. All possible x values require you to think about what x values don't work. This must be the origin, so I'm going to make it a little bit bolder. Skip. Looking right here, as I go from the origin to the left, -1, I can go down from -1 and find the graph. I can go down from -2 and find the graph, but I cannot do that for 3, cannot do that for 4. And then once again, at -5, I can go down from -5 and find the graph, and that looks like, especially because of the arrow, that I can continue to do that for every value to the left. So the first thing that I want to write down is domain is all possible x values less than -5. Oh, because that's a closed circle, equal to. You might have caught that as I was trying to write it down. There's a second section that I've highlighted, and because there's a second section that I've highlighted, I would use the word or, because that allows us to have 2 different values. Is it or or is it and? I think it needs to be and in this case. I'll have a different use for the word or later. So we can argue this and usage in our own time. X is less than or equal to -5 and, as in all possible domain numbers, if I go from the origin out, -1, -2, -2 is the start of the new section. It has a filled in circle, so I need to use the less than or equal to sign. And now I think about all the numbers that are in the x-axis that I can stop at and then go up or down to find the line. All of these x values work where I can go find the line. Right here, it doesn't. So this is does not fit, not in the domain. But I need to know what number this is. Better yet, I need to know what number the open circle is located, what x value the open circle is located at. So from the origin, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. As x goes from -2 to 7, we're able to go and find the line either going up or down. These are x values that are going up to find the line. This open circle, though, tells me to use not equal to. And this is our domain in inequality notation. Interval notation is a little more challenging. You're not expected, I'm saying this as I believe it to be true, you're not expected to know the interval notation yet, but I might as well talk about it. In this piece, x is less than or equal to -5, and it's continuing to go down as we move further to the left. So we would say -∞, comma, -5. But because there's a filled in circle here, I'm going to put a square bracket. This and tells us that we have a connecting piece. So I'm going to use the shape that looks like a U. It represents union. And if you have a union of things, like a marriage union, that's 2 people coming together. We're talking about 2 intervals coming together, and is the key word. But we're going to use these numbers because there's a start and a stop to describe the next interval. The 2 is less than or equal to. I have to use a square bracket and a comma. X is between this number, -2, and this number, 7. But there's only the less than sign here. So when I write the 7 down, I'm not using a square bracket to close it. I'm going to use a parenthesis. The parenthesis means like just barely but not quite touching. This is our notation for interval notation. And here's our domain. Once again, in words, the domain is all x values less than or equal to -5 and all x values between or greater than or equal to -2 and less than 7.